Welcome back to our channel HD Ultra Rare Coins, where we dive deep into the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins. Today, we have an incredible story to share, one that brings us back to a pivotal moment in American history, the 1965 United States quarter dollar. This seemingly ordinary coin, which was minted over 50 years ago, has a rich history and could potentially be worth a small fortune today. Stick with us, because by the end of this video, you'll be amazed at just how much this 1965 quarter could be worth in today's market. Let's start by setting the stage. The 1965 quarter dollar is far more than just a piece of currency. It was minted during a time of great social and political change in the United States. The early 1960s were a period of transformation, marked by the civil rights movement, the space race, and an evolving American society. But more importantly, 1965 was a year of significant change in the U.S. monetary system. Prior to 1965, quarters were composed primarily of 90% silver, a precious metal that made them highly valued both as currency and as bullion. However, in response to a nationwide silver shortage and rising silver prices, the U.S. government made a bold decision to reduce the silver content in coins. In 1965, the quarter dollar, along with other coins, was restructured to contain only 40% silver, marking the end of the era of nearly pure silver coins in the U.S. This shift had a profound impact on the future of coin collecting and added an intriguing element of rarity to certain coins produced that year. But before we get too deep into the coin's significance, let's take a closer look at its design. The design of the 1965 quarter is one of the key features that has made it so memorable to collectors. On the obverse of the coin, you'll find the iconic image of George Washington, the first president of the United States. Washington's portrait was originally created by artist John Flanagan and has been featured on the quarter since 1932. His likeness on the 1965 quarter is not only a symbol of national pride, but also a reminder of the enduring legacy of America's founding leaders. But while the obverse side of the 1965 quarter remained unchanged from previous years, the reverse side experienced a dramatic shift. For the first time since 1932, the reverse of the quarter was altered. Instead of the traditional eagle, the new reverse featured a bold, stylized design of a heraldic eagle with its wings outstretched. This new design, while still symbolic of America's strength and freedom, was distinct from the earlier quarters that had shown a more traditional eagle in a more restrained pose. The decision to change the reverse design came at a time when the U.S. Mint was looking for ways to modernize the look of its coins. However, while the design itself was fresh and new, it was still deeply rooted in the nation's heritage. The eagle's outstretched wings were meant to symbolize both strength and protection, qualities that Americans would have found particularly relevant as the nation dealt with the tumult of the 1960s. Despite these changes, the 1965 quarter still maintains a connection to the past, evoking a sense of continuity with the ideals that shaped the United States. When it comes to minting, 1965 was a year of great importance in the history of American coins. The U.S. Mint produced millions of quarters that year, more than 1.8 billion, in fact. The coins were minted at several different locations, including the Philadelphia Mint, the Denver Mint, and the San Francisco Mint. However, despite the large number of quarters produced, there were some significant differences between them, and these variations are what make certain coins from this year especially valuable to collectors. For example, most 1965 quarters were produced with a standard composition of 40% silver and 60% copper. However, there are some extremely rare coins from this year that were mistakenly struck using the old 90% silver composition, creating a unique and highly sought-after error coin. These rare 90% silver 1965 quarters are incredibly valuable to collectors because they represent a strange and unexpected anomaly in the minting process. But even without these error coins, 1965 quarters are still valuable, especially in certain conditions. Coins that have been carefully preserved in near-perfect or uncirculated condition can fetch a much higher price on the market. Over the years, the value of the 1965 quarter has steadily increased, particularly among collectors who appreciate the historical significance of the coin. Now, let's talk about the appeal of this coin for collectors. One of the main reasons the 1965 quarter is so desirable is because of its historical significance. Not only does it mark the end of the silver era, but it also represents a time of transition and transformation for both the United States and the world. The 1965 quarter captures a moment in time when the nation was changing, politically, socially, and economically. This makes it an essential part of any serious collector's collection, especially those who are passionate about the history of American coinage. But beyond the historical context, the 1965 quarter is also highly sought after because of its relatively low mintage compared to other years. While millions of these coins were produced, many were circulated heavily, leading to significant wear and tear. As a result, finding one in excellent condition, especially one that has been preserved in uncirculated condition, can be quite a challenge. The better the condition of the coin, the more valuable it becomes to collectors. Coins with minimal scratches, no signs of wear, and sharp, clear details are the most desirable and can command impressive prices at auction. In addition to the standard 1965 quarter, there are also special editions that can significantly increase the coin's value. For example, the 1965 proof quarter, which was struck for collectors, features a much higher level of detail and a glossy, mirror-like finish. Proof coins are typically made in smaller quantities and are designed to showcase the finest possible details. These coins are typically not intended for circulation and are often preserved in pristine condition, which makes them even more valuable. But perhaps the most exciting part of this story is the incredible value of certain 1965 quarters today. You may be wondering just how much one of these coins could be worth, and the answer is quite astonishing. If you have a 1965 quarter that is in perfect, uncirculated condition, or, even better, if you have one of the rare error coins struck with 90% silver, your coin could be worth a staggering $87,000. That's right, $87,000 for a single 1965 quarter. Who would have thought that a coin minted over 50 years ago could be worth so much? If you happen to have one of these hidden treasures in your collection, or if you come across one in your coin hunting adventures, it could be worth far more than you ever imagined. So, there you have it, the fascinating story of the 1965 United States quarter dollar. From its historical significance to its incredible rarity and potential value, this coin is a true gem for collectors and history enthusiasts alike. Today, we're diving into a fascinating piece of American history, the United States 1984 quarter dollar. This unassuming coin may not have been on your radar, but trust me, it's a hidden treasure with a rich story. By the end of this video, you'll be amazed at just how much this coin could be worth today. The year 1984 was a turning point in many ways for the United States. Politically, it was the year of President Ronald Reagan's re-election. The U.S. economy was recovering from a recession, and the nation was beginning to embrace a sense of prosperity. But what does all this have to do with a quarter? Well, the 1984 quarter, despite being produced in vast quantities, is far more than just a piece of change from a time of economic recovery. It's a representation of the nation's evolving coinage and the changing face of its currency system. In 1984, the U.S. Mint continued to produce the traditional quarter dollar, which had been in circulation since 1932. The design on the quarter hadn't changed much in decades, still featuring George Washington's iconic portrait on the obverse, a tribute to the first president of the United States. This design, created by John Flanagan, has been a symbol of American heritage for generations. But while the front of the coin stayed the same, it was the economic climate and the vast scale of production that would make this coin a fascinating study for collectors. The 1984 quarter was part of the regular coinage production, meaning millions of them were minted across various U.S. mint locations, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. At the time, the U.S. Mint had been minting quarters for over 50 years without any major design changes. So why should we care about a quarter from 1984? It turns out that this coin is more significant than most people realize, especially for collectors who focus on rarity and condition. The main reason the 1984 quarter stands out for collectors is its consistent presence in circulation. Unlike some older quarters, which have been hoarded by collectors or melted down for their silver content, the 1984 quarter was produced in a period when the minting of quarters was more about practicality than novelty. But what that means for collectors today is that finding a 1984 quarter in pristine, uncirculated condition is rare. Most of the coins produced that year were used for everyday transactions, resulting in wear and tear, scratches, and discoloration. So, how does that affect its value? Well, just like any collectible item, condition plays a huge role in determining a coin's worth. Quarters that have been used for decades show signs of wear, but those that have been carefully preserved in near mint or uncirculated condition can be worth far more than their face value. This is where the 1984 quarter gets interesting. While many are still in circulation today, a small number of these coins were kept in excellent condition, making them highly sought after by collectors. But let's not forget about the key design features that make the 1984 quarter special. The obverse features George Washington's familiar portrait, surrounded by the words, "Liberty, in God we trust," and the year of minting. Washington's face remains as iconic today as it was when it was first introduced in 1932. The reverse, like most quarters minted after 1932, features an eagle. The eagle's wings are spread, representing strength and freedom, while the olive branch in one talon and the arrows in the other symbolize peace and the readiness to defend the country if necessary. But the real collector appeal of the 1984 quarter comes from its connection to the broader context of American coinage. In the 1980s, the U.S. Mint was beginning to modernize its facilities and systems. Advances in technology were making the production of coins more efficient, and by 1984, the U.S. Mint was minting quarters faster than ever before. This increased production meant that more coins were being produced in a shorter amount of time, but it also meant that collectors had to be more discerning when searching for those rare, well-preserved examples. Now, what really makes the 1984 quarter stand out is the rarity of high-grade specimens. These quarters were produced in high numbers, but very few have survived in pristine condition. The vast majority of them were circulated extensively and showed signs of wear. The problem with many of the 1984 quarters is that they weren't necessarily seen as valuable at the time, and many were simply spent or lost in circulation. Finding one in excellent, uncirculated condition today can be a rare occurrence. Among the most prized 1984 quarters are those that were produced with a unique combination of minting features. Some collectors believe that certain quarters struck at particular mints, or with specific die pairs, may be rarer than others. These subtle variations can add to a coin's value, and collectors are always on the lookout for them. But here's the exciting part. You may be wondering, just how much could a 1984 quarter be worth today? Well, the value of a typical 1984 quarter is just its face value, 25 cents. But when you start talking about rare, uncirculated examples, the value increases significantly. A coin that has been preserved in mint condition, without any wear or discoloration, can fetch a premium price on the market. And here's where it gets truly fascinating. If you happen to come across an uncirculated 1984 quarter, or perhaps even one that has some unique minting error or die variation, it could be worth as much as $57,000. Yes, you read that correctly. $57,000 for a single 1984 quarter. Now, you might be asking yourself how this is possible. After all, these coins were mass-produced, and many of them are still floating around in circulation. The key lies in the condition and rarity. Coins that have been kept in pristine condition, or that have rare minting features, can skyrocket in value. The allure of the 1984 quarter lies in the fact that it's not just any ordinary coin. It's a piece of American history with an unexpected twist. So, if you're an avid coin collector or just someone who happens to have a few old coins lying around, it might be worth your time to go through your collection and see if you have one of these rare 1984 quarters. You never know. You might just be sitting on a small fortune. Today, we're diving deep into the story of a coin that might not look extraordinary at first glance, but could be worth far more than you might expect. We're talking about the United States 1995 quarter dollar. This seemingly standard coin holds a fascinating history, design, and value that has piqued the interest of collectors around the world. Stick around as we uncover the layers behind this quarter and reveal its impressive value at the end. The year 1995 was a time of transition in many ways for the United States. The country was in the midst of the 90s economic boom, following the end of the Cold War. The world was becoming more connected, the internet was just beginning to reshape the way we communicate, and technology was rapidly evolving. The American public was experiencing a new sense of optimism and growth. But what does this all have to do with a quarter? Well, 1995 was a pivotal year in the world of U.S. coinage. By this time, the design of the quarter had undergone several changes since its original introduction in 1796. In 1995, the quarter was still part of the traditional series, featuring the familiar portrait of George Washington, which had been on the quarter since 1932. But what makes the 1995 quarter particularly interesting is the series of events surrounding its production, and the way it captured a specific moment in U.S. history. To understand the full significance of the 1995 quarter, we have to step back into the 1990s and take a closer look at the minting process and design choices of the U.S. Mint during this time. For many years, the design of the quarter had remained relatively unchanged, but in 1999, the U.S. Mint launched the 50-state quarters program. This was a groundbreaking initiative that would forever alter the design of the American quarter by honoring each state with a unique, commemorative design. But in 1995, before this dramatic change, the quarter was still part of the regular series, and the focus was primarily on ensuring that production met the demands of circulation. Now, let's take a moment to discuss the design of the 1995 quarter. On the obverse of the coin, you'll find the iconic portrait of George Washington. Created by artist John Flanagan, Washington's likeness has been a symbol of the United States leadership and ideals for generations. His face on the 1995 quarter serves as a reminder of the nation's origins and its continued growth over the years. Around Washington's image are the words, "Liberty, in God we trust," and the year, 1995. The combination of these features gives the 1995 quarter a timeless, classical look. On the reverse side of the coin, you'll find the standard design that had been in place for decades. This side features an eagle perched on a branch, its wings slightly spread, symbolizing the strength and resilience of the American people. In one talon, the eagle holds an olive branch, representing peace, and in the other, it clutches a bundle of arrows, representing readiness to defend the country. This powerful imagery reflects the nation's ongoing commitment to freedom and protection. At first glance, the design of the 1995 quarter may not seem all that different from those that came before it. But what makes this coin significant for collectors is the high volume of coins minted in that year, along with the increasing interest in coin collecting during the 1990s. In 1995, the U.S. Mint produced hundreds of millions of these quarters to keep up with demand. But just because a coin is produced in large quantities doesn't mean it can't become a valuable collector's item. As with many coins, the key to value is condition, rarity, and historical significance. So, what makes the 1995 quarter stand out in the world of collectors? The answer lies in its relative rarity in higher grades and the market's increasing interest in coins from this time period. While most 1995 quarters are worth just 25 cents in their circulated form, finding one in excellent, uncirculated condition can make a huge difference in value. The reason for this is that many coins from this era were used extensively in circulation, leading to wear and discoloration. As with any collectible item, the better the condition, the more valuable the coin becomes. Coin collectors are constantly searching for those rare pieces that have been well preserved and remain in pristine condition. With the 1995 quarter, those in uncirculated or near mint condition have become highly desirable. Some collectors have even reported that they can sometimes find these coins at coin shows or auctions, where they can fetch much higher prices than their face value. But it's not just about the coin's condition. The year 1995 also marks an important time in the history of U.S. coinage, adding a layer of historical intrigue that attracts collectors. But here's the real twist. Some of the 1995 quarters have errors or variations that have driven their value even higher. There are some known varieties from this year that were minted with unusual features, such as doubling or die errors. These subtle mistakes that happen during the minting process can make a coin significantly rarer and more valuable. When these error coins are found, they often end up commanding much higher prices in the market. While many 1995 quarters are fairly common and not worth much beyond their face value, error coins can sell for thousands of dollars depending on the severity of the mistake and the condition of the coin. Collectors who specialize in error coins will pay a premium for these unique pieces, and even a slight error can make the coin stand out from the rest. Now, let's talk about the big question that everyone's been waiting for. How much is a 1995 quarter worth? If you have a 1995 quarter in pristine, uncirculated condition, or one with a rare minting error, your coin could be worth a significant sum. While most 1995 quarters are still worth only 25 cents, the value of well-preserved, rare examples can reach astonishing heights. In fact, a single 1995 quarter in perfect condition, or one with a particularly rare error, could be worth as much as $49,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. $49,000 for a single 1995 quarter. While this might sound unbelievable, it's important to remember that coin collecting is a market driven by rarity and condition. So, if you happen to come across a 1995 quarter that's in near perfect condition or has an interesting minting error, you might just have a small fortune in your hands. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1995 quarter and want to learn more about rare and valuable coins, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on future discoveries. Thanks for watching, and happy collecting!